Black Americans are turning their back on budding pop star Tyla because she referred to herself as colored, which is perfectly normal where she's from in South Africa, but not at all normal here in the United States. Now Black Americans are saying she is anti-Black and she deserves no success in the US of A. Let's talk about it.
Yeah, you better. Yeah, you better.
Guys, before we get into today's video, please like and subscribe. Today we're talking about South African artist Tyla. You may know her from one of her biggest hits, Water, others like Truth or Dare or ART. Well, she recently released an EP titled WWP, and it's apparently not doing so well in the United States. It sold less than 4,000 copies in its first week live, and Black Americans are taking responsibility for this so-called flop era for Tyla. Now, what did she do wrong? How did she piss off Black America? Well, she referred to herself as colored. Now, for those of you who are unfamiliar with this, in South Africa, colored people refer to themselves as colored. Now, Tyla, I guess, didn't realize that was a derogatory term here in the United States, and she continued to refer to herself in that way. Now, Black Americans said, no, you can bring your South African culture here, but you are not bringing the word colored with you. So let's watch a clip of Tyla referring to herself as such.
Like, in South Africa, my race is called colored, and it's a very stressful term to use in America because I know it's a derogatory term.
Right.
But I mean, that's what we are called in South Africa.
So there you have it. That's it. That's what set off quite a few Black Americans, that she says in South Africa, we refer to ourselves as colored. That's my race. And I know Americans are not fond of it, but it's literally my culture, which obviously you guys know what I'm going to say. There is nothing wrong with that. She came over to this country to promote her music, which is influenced by her South African culture. And if in her country they refer to themselves as colored, guess what? It makes it not derogatory. Now, she's not coming over here and pointing at Black Americans and saying, you're colored, you're colored, you're colored, knowing damn well that it's derogatory to them and it's offensive to them. She's saying, I'm colored, and in my country that is not derogatory, nor is it offensive. And if we cannot contextualize the word and the manner in which it's being used, then what are we doing? But nonetheless, a lot of Black Americans, I guess, had a little thirst for vengeance when it came to her use of this phrase. She was doing really well here in the United States. Her first album, her song Water, and other hits that came along with this album were doing really well amongst Black Americans, but they said, no more, you know what, we're not going to engage with this new EP. Now, in the wake of all this colored controversy and the debate surrounding the word, she actually did an interview with The Breakfast Club. You guys know Charlemagne the God and all the hosts on that show. Now, The Breakfast Club decided to bring up the use of the word colored and sort of ask her about its history, about her culture, and about how she feels using that phrase here in the United States. And this is how that went.
All right.
So, yeah.
School me on these debates that they be having about your identity as a South African colored person. What does that even mean?
Can we not? Por favor.
Oh, I like that. We keeping that in the interview too.
Shut up, man.
I like when they talk from the back and say we can't. I like that. I like that. That's good. That's even better.
Next one, please.
That's even better.
You're stupid, yo.
Did you see Kevin Hart give Kai Cenat a framed picture of your saying, what was it?
Okay, so there you go. She was asked the question and immediately, whoop, looked to somebody else for the answer on that one. Now, mind you, Tyla's 23 years old. I don't know how old she was when she did this interview, maybe the same age. I don't think she was prepared for further pressing on this issue, for further pressing on this word. And you could see it's sort of conditioned into her to go and look to whoever, her publicist, her manager, whoever that may be, to say, should I answer this question? Can you step in here? Can we get to the next question? And as an artist who is on a meteoric rise here in the United States, and particularly amongst Black Americans and in Black culture, The Breakfast Club is one place you do not want to do that. The Breakfast Club has quite a profound popularity amongst Black Americans. And if you're going to go on The Breakfast Club, you better be prepared to be pushed on specific issues, especially ones that have caused viral debates surrounding your use of potentially derogatory terms. Now, we all know it wasn't derogatory, but she should have been able, I think, to sort of stand 10 toes down and say, you know, that's what we say in my culture. And maybe had she stood strong, she would have been able to defend herself. I don't know. I'm not all that convinced. I think people really do just want to hate, especially if you piss off Black America. They are so ready to go after you and say that you're anti-Black or say that you don't care about Black Americans. And then beyond that, they want to be the gatekeepers of culture. So if your album or your EP flops, they are going to take responsibility for that. Now, should she have had an answer for this question? Probably. You either don't go on The Breakfast Club or you go on and you're prepared for what you're going to be asked, which is of course going to be one of your major points of controversy. But I digress. Now, since the EP went live and it had less than 4,000 sales, of course, a lot of Black people are hopping on the internet to say, I know exactly why this album is flopping. This tweet says, things that ruined Tyla's debut, insisting on being called colored even after the explanation for why it isn't acceptable here was given, pivoting to being called black after the fact, showing up to an award show for black people without acknowledging the race issue. Do you see where all of these reasons lie? It's all about black Americans. Now, mind you, Tyla is not a black American. She does not owe you anything, and you don't owe her album sales, but she certainly does not have to drop her culture at the door and not refer to herself in the light in which she's been referring to herself her entire life. Now, she didn't insist that black Americans call her colored. She just said, hey, I'm from South Africa and I'm going to refer to myself as colored. And if you go and look into her history and background, she's spoken extensively about her culture, about her history, about her background, her heritage, and engaging with all of that. So for her to come into this country and then to be asked to abandon her culture is just so wild to me, especially with how seriously black Americans take culture and the many accusations that they will lay on other people for trying to strip them of their culture. Please make it make sense. But nonetheless, we're going to watch some more responses.
Tyla barely sold freaking 4,000 copies in her first week for her new EP because of the disrespect she displayed towards black American people. To everyone in the diaspora that keeps disrespecting black Americans, what have we learned from this? What have we learned from this? I'll tell you, nothing moves and nothing shakes without black Americans. This is coming from a Haitian American man. Nothing moves or shakes without black Americans. Nothing. How you go from having one of the best songs of the decade and Water, and you got an EP that came out and only sold 4,000 first week, and you got financial backing and all that. Please.
So what did we learn from this? First of all, we got to go ahead and throw out the disclaimer. Not all black Americans think this way. There are a lot of black people coming forward and defending Tyla for her use of the word colored and saying that's her word from her culture. And if we have a different connotation for that word, that's our connotation. We do not get to just burden somebody else with our history that they are completely uninvolved with. So shout out to the people who are reasonable in this. But for those who aren't, what we've also learned is that you're dealing with a particularly sensitive group of people who at the slightest bit of offense are going to withdraw all sorts of support from you. Is that the type of group of people you want to be dealing with? Probably not. And now they're claiming responsibility for this album flopping. I don't even know the metrics on that. I look up Tyla on Spotify. She's getting tens of millions of monthly listeners, even on this new EP. I don't even know who's really buying albums anymore and how to gauge, less than 4,000 sales in your first week. But nonetheless, let's say Black America is responsible for the lack of moving and shaking when it comes to this album. It's not really a dig at Tyla. It's more a dig at how insane some of our political conversations have become in this country, how divisive things can be when you throw out a word that is not even derogatory and you can create this many waves amongst a group of sensitive people. That's what we've learned here. But let's watch another one.
She was touted as the next big thing. She was seen as the next Rihanna, a foreign singer breaking into the African-American music market and end up being a massive international star. However, Rihanna actually did take the time to understand and educate herself into said market that she was trying to tap into. Tyla never did that, and when she had the opportunity to clear things up, she turned it down. It also doesn't help when your friends from South Africa double down even harder, where they start blaming and getting upset with African Americans over a term that is offensive to us. But we are not in South Africa, and she was trying to tap into our market. She wanted our dollars. She wanted us to buy her merch, her albums, go to her shows. And from what I've seen everyone say, how does she bounce back? When the reality is, there is no bouncing back, especially when it comes to tapping into the American music market. Even when you're one of the most massive international stars with a career spanning decades, is it still really difficult for you to break in? Hell, even for American artists, it's extremely hard for American artists to break in to the American music market. The reality is, a conversation that she needs to have with her team is how can she pivot and how can she have a fruitful international career? There is no bouncing back from this. She had a shot and she blew it.
So there you go. I guess that's how fragile your relationship is with people who support your artistry and your music. You use a word, again, in a not even offensive way, and boom, the relationship is apparently over and you can't bounce back. I don't know if that's necessarily true. I think Tyla's going to go on to have a very successful career, and I guess we'll all see that take place or not take place in the future. But really what this video substantiates is the idea that if you come and apologize or try to pivot or try to accept the education that these individuals are giving you, they don't care. There is no bouncing back. They just want you to submit to their way of viewing the world, and their way of viewing the world is the complete dismissal of the culture that you brought with you when you came to the United States to promote your music. Now, Tyla's gonna be fine no matter what. She's gonna be financially successful. She's gonna be successful in the music industry. It really doesn't matter all that much. I just think the cultural conversation surrounding the use of this word is just so fascinating and interesting. And good for her that South Africans are going, wait a minute, we're actually gonna defend our girl because we did, send her over there to you and she was successful and you guys did like her. And then she brought a little bit of her culture with her and you guys couldn't tolerate her. Good for them for defending her so she can go back to her home country and be successful and move it and shake it with them. She's gonna be successful over there. She's still successful here in the United States, at least when you look at her streaming numbers and try to, convert that and do the math on that. This girl is going to be fine. And the reasoning surrounding this album flop or this cancellation, it's ridiculous. Let's be honest. And I'd like to hear from you guys about like more examples of this sort of linguistic division taking place, because this can't be the first time that this has happened. There's got to be so many different words that when you come here to the United States, oh my gosh, are you going to offend somebody? And then you go back to your culture and it's totally fine. This is not the first time this has happened, nor is it the last. So I'd like to hear from you guys in the comments down below. Those are my thoughts on the whole Tyla situation and Black Americans who are upset with her over the use of this term. Let me know yours. As always, if you disagree with anything I said in this video, do get out, but do so respectfully. I encourage healthy debate on this channel. And if you like this video, like, subscribe, click the notification bell to be notified every single time I post a video for you guys, which is every day. And I will see you guys tomorrow. Bye.
Yeah, you better. Yeah, you better.